With us now from Stanford, California, is Jon Cohen, Senior Vice President of Survey Research at SurveyMonkey. All right, John, let's first on the presidential level. We're going to go down ballot in a minute. We've been talking for months about a narrow electoral path for Donald Trump. How narrow is that path right now?
Well, it's extraordinarily narrow right now, and it's probably closed a lot in the last 6 weeks since all three presidential debates and the vice presidential debate, didn't help him nationally, and certainly is not helping him in the states. He's a very narrow path that goes through the Midwest, but Clinton's now contesting places that Trump shouldn't be defending, like Arizona and even Texas in our data.
Hey, so, John, Sean Heilman here. I've been looking at your polling over the past month. I know you look at your polling all the time. We just finished these big three debates, right? And there are some people who think that they were masterful performances by Hillary Clinton. They really moved the needle in terms of actually how the election is being fought out on the ground. So the impact of the tapes that Donald Trump had to suffer from, the accusations. What's been the effect of these last basically 3 weeks on the polling of all the stuff that's happened?
Yeah, it's really collateral damage to the Trump campaign. What we've seen on the Democratic side is that Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents have become increasingly supportive of Clinton, just like you would expect in the closing weeks of a campaign. But that just hasn't happened on the Republican side. Republicans are staying at the level of support they've had for Donald Trump over the last 6 weeks. So, this is a really big missed opportunity for him, and in part because of the damage, that he's done to himself, by the tapes and the reaction to them.
John, let's move down ballot a little bit. Obviously, let's talk about a potential wave. What is the tipping point as far as a popular vote or as far as an electoral vote where it really starts to take its toll down ballot? Let's start with New Hampshire, for instance.
Yeah, well, New Hampshire, we actually have the Democrats ahead in both the Senate and the governor's races. And we see that, and there are a lot of really closely contested ones from North Carolina to Arizona, surprisingly, for Senator McCain. So it's really close. And your last segment was about female voters. They really will tip the balance in all of these states. When you look at the gender gap across all of these states and nationally, it's as big as we've ever seen. And when you combine that with the education gap that there is in the country, you have white women with college degrees going, incredibly for Democratic candidates, which puts lots of southern states in play, not only for Clinton, but also for the Senate candidates. So the Democrats are in a good position, not as good as Clinton is in terms of winning the White House, but they do have a shot at taking over the Senate.
So, yeah, John, let me just drill into that a little bit further. I hear from Republican pollsters who are doing private polling for various candidates all the time that they're sort of freaking out right now, and that if Hillary Clinton were to get up to win the presidential election, if she got up, right now her polling average, she's up by about 6. If she got up to 8, 9, the Senate would be gone for sure for Republicans under those circumstances, and the House might be in jeopardy. What do you see in your numbers in terms of the likelihood of, what would you put the likelihood at right now of Democrats retaking the Senate and the House?
Well, in our national polling, we're right at that 6 number you mentioned. We have been as high as 9 and 10, and we've been as low as 1, but not for a very long time. Clinton's lead has been steady nationally. There are no signs that it's gone up over the course of the last month, despite all the damage to the Trump campaign that's been reported. She hasn't increased that lead dramatically, so it's kind of hard to believe what she could do at this point to increase it more to 9 or 10. So it's going to come down to some of the idiosyncrasies of these really close races, and again, hinge on turnout, and particularly among female voters.
John, I'm going to put you on the spot as somebody who's been following this. Give me the electoral number. Does she get near 400?
Oh, gosh. Right now, we have her pretty solidly above 270. So, kind of when we talk about how narrow his path is, it's extraordinarily narrow or non-existent if you look at the data today. She has a shot in the, the mid 300s, but I doubt she'll get to 400 unless, only millennials could vote.